Hello, Sagittarius. Okay, so this is for Ascendant in Sagittarius, not Sun in Sagittarius. So for your chart, if you can get a hold of your natal chart and find out what your Ascendant is, if you don't already know it, then come back and you can find the right sign here. I can offer you some recommendations to charts to use. I personally use a sidereal chart, which uses a different system, but I also use the equal house system for the way that they divide up the house spaces. That's just how I do it. You can always ask, and I'll give you some links to a website to generate your natal chart for free. It's just like a calculator, but that way, if you are Ascendant Sagittarius, you could always, obviously, you could stick around, and I'm sure some of these things will resonate. But the ones with your Ascendant will be a lot more where everything is going to be useful, basically. So. Starting out, November 11th, we have the Sun in Scorpio, sextile Pluto in Capricorn, and for Sagittarius, that means it's going to be in your 12th house here. It's upside down. 12th house here. Sun in Scorpio in your 12th, and it's sextile your second house here, so there's Pluto there. So, Scorpio is kind of pushing you into the unconscious. So Pluto may be kind of also helping you evaluate your connections to the material world, like really asking like some deep questions, like what kind of senses exist without the body? Like how are you stretching those kinds of understandings and limitations? To push into exploring relationships between like the different planes of existence, I guess. Maybe you're feeling like meditating or kind of closing your eyes and really thinking about the deep stuff, asking big questions. Which of your material possessions need to go? Pluto's kind of sees like the shadow side of people and really wants to address vulnerabilities and weaknesses for your betterment, basically, for your growth. It may seem uncomfortable, but you're going to need to try to rid yourself of like unnecessary weight in this process because, climbing to the top of like a mountain, basically, like you're not going to want to take a backpack with like 150 pounds of stuff in it. Even though you're like just so attached to it, it's talking about letting go of the stuff that you feel you really need, but you don't really need because you have a long journey wherever you're headed. You have some big purposes, you have big plans, and getting there requires, shedding some extra weight in order to get there. So this may even be talking about material possessions just because it's in your second house. It could actually really have to do with the stuff that's yours, the stuff that you really consider is yours, belongs to you. So that's for that time. On the 15th, we have Mars in Aquarius. There. Sorry, forgot to move it back from my last one. Mars in Aquarius, sextile Uranus in Aries, which is over here. And it's been there for a couple of days now. This is a boost in like kind of your drive and your eagerness to get things done. For a Sagittarius, this is your third house and your fifth house. So communications, providing unwanted advice, kind of getting raised eyebrows from people kind of thinking you're off or something. I don't know. It's saying maybe consider more creative expression where it's not really directed at anybody in specific, so you can kind of blow off this steam in a less restricted format where you're not having to worry about, how that communication comes across in the moment. You can just express it and it's fine. It's more like, artistic. So try to hang on, have a pen or brush, nearby if you paint, because sometimes Uranus also likes to just like randomly inspire you with something crazy. So be ready for that too. On November 15th, we have Mars moving into Pisces here. For Sagittarius, can have you focusing on improvements at home, but not like buying yourself your own coffee maker, more like stuff that's more communal, stuff that like if you're living with others, this is more like an overall improvement, quality of life improvement for everybody, a new way to keep things clean, like for the dishes or something, or a broom or whatever, conserving water or electricity, or maybe a better way to keep your precious items safe, because this house does deal with, heirlooms and precious items and that sort of thing. So improvements for like the community, I guess you could say, are going to be on focus. On November 16th, Venus goes direct in Libra. It's been here at the beginning of the month, but now it's going direct. It was in retrograde. So there's an increase of clarity. There's an increase of, like, I guess you could say the mirror of, that's, I guess you could say, I don't know if you've ever heard this, like people can be like a reflection of you. I guess you could say what's happening is the mirror is getting clean. So like communication, reflection between you and your partner, or in terms of love and aesthetics and beauty and that sort of thing, it's getting all cleared up, so it's easier to see. So for Sagittarius, this is in your 11th house. So you're going to be running into a lot of people where you see really, really eye to eye, really eye to eye with certain subjects that you don't normally find other people that are into it, So good time to have social gatherings, especially ones where they're centered around common activities and like hobbies and stuff like that. Relationships initiated around this time might not be the best for intimacy and longevity, but they are well suited to collaborative projects and community development. So this isn't recommended to be like a romantic time. Obviously, if you're planning on it being long-term. If you're not planning on it being long-term, then obviously it's probably going to work out. Just don't get caught up, because, like I said, it's more for collaboration, not for long-term stuff. You guys share common interests, so it might kind of drive you crazy. For November 16th, Mercury goes retrograde in Sagittarius here. That's in your first house. So being as it is the same house, the same sign, this is going to be really a shine on your communication and how people perceive you. So lots of things may be taken the wrong way. Be careful with kind of sharing your opinion about things. This is usually a time to try creative writing, any kind of writing or creative structure that helps you improve how you put together arguments, how you argue for things. Basically, it just means to organize your thoughts. And sometimes there's, creative writing does it. It helps you organize and put things down in a way that makes you actually look back and think, oh wow, like this theme, or this seems inconsistent, or I didn't really have a reason for this, I just kind of made that up, or whatever. It's saying here this will really help to strengthen that muscle. It's always a good time during Mercury retrograde to take in information, review old things, revisit old things and places, revisit places you've been before, redistributing energy from the usual outlets into researching and digesting, and avoiding the whole scheduling and planning and action taking as far as like the cardinal energy where it's starting things. Now there's different than continuing or finishing things, so that's where you want to really direct that energy into. So now next one here is, oh, I forgot, that's why it's not showing up. Okay, so for Sagittarius, you may be kind of thinking about changing your outer appearance, like a drastic change, like hair, makeup, clothes, that sort of thing. Don't actually follow through with action, but this is a good time to plan and design for those kinds of things. If you really are feeling that, if you really are feeling like redesigning yourself, mood board, look up haircuts you like, research trends and stuff like that. Put together something, but don't quite buy it yet. Don't quite get the haircut. Don't quite do that until this retrograde period is over. And that way you won't have to do it all over again. So I hope that helps. I'm going to do reading now just to cover if there's any messages from Spirit for this week. For Ascendant Sagittarius, Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius in the first house, okay, so maybe this conflict with like fear, maybe mysteries of things. for Sagittarius, there's always this drive, I think, talks a lot about it. And sometimes, depending on your chart, those drives can be kind of misdirected, or blocked. But ultimately, I feel like Ascendant in Sagittarius, the striving here is to really get comfortable with exploring things. So there may be fear coming up. There may be this concept of the mystery just being really terrifying. The need to understand your situation, the need to, I don't know, to be okay with unfamiliar things in your life and things that you can't predict. That's your Ascendant trying to go, towards that desire to travel, to get around, to explore culture, to find wisdom in the differences between people. So for this, definitely makes sense. Interesting. Okay. So 10 of Swords, 8 of Wisdom. Yeah, this may kind of bring up some karmic stuff, maybe. Feeling of isolation. I think that's what it is. It's tough for this impulse, this need to discover cultures and share wisdom and higher learning and teacher relationships, all of that, to finally have issues with communication. Mercury in retrograde can sometimes really tear that up for Sagittarius, this being in your sign. So you may feel isolated, you may feel in a group of people but not really feel like people are seeing you or really receiving you. When it comes to the 8 of Wisdom, yeah, scholar time. It always comes up kind of saying, this is talking about apprenticeship, scholarship, equality, modesty. With something in retrograde, this may even be a time to reach out to take on the role of like a teaching yourself, basically. Reworking, I think it's mentioning like this communication aspect. Being scholarly and like expanding your knowledge, maybe picking up books that really challenge your way of thinking, and how you communicate. So you could always do that. So that's for the week. I hope you enjoy and hope you can make use of some of this transit information, the readings. If you like, go ahead and subscribe, and you click the bell and you can get notified when I update them more. I'm going to also be doing videos on sidereal astrology because I'd like to transition more into sidereal. This is why I'm doing the Ascendant sign astrology. I just feel like it's a lot more accurate for transit information. And as always, please comment. Let me know if you have any confirmations based on this information, how this all goes down for you. If you have your Ascendant in Sagittarius, let me know what your sun sign is. Comment below, and I'd love to kind of see just like a poll of these different combinations. So hope you have a good week. Peace.